Hello there, this is your EdTech coach with more fun educational video tutorials. Today we will cover the following. 1. Online assessment item bank. 2. Administer online assessment. And 3. Student portal. Welcome to Illuminate Online Assessment and Item Banks Part 1. To begin creating an online assessment, you're going to go to Assessments and you're going to have two options here. You can select from the item bank, create new assessment item bank, or visit the item bank. Either option is fine. I'm going to select the Visit Item Bank. And this might take a little while to load, but what this is that you are actually on a different window other than Illuminate. There's a new window that opened up. It just looks very similar to keep the user interface the same. Now what we're going to be doing is creating an assessment. So I'm going to go to Create, Assessment, select Next. Right away you will be prompted to name your assessment. If you are a course lead, then you have to use the name conventions that was determined by your department. If you are creating this assessment only for you and your class, you're not planning on sharing it, then you can give it an assessment name that you'll remember. I'll just name it Test Example 5B and AB, since I already created one with that name. For description, you don't have to add the description. For academic year, you can assign the academic year in which we currently are. Grade levels, depending on your class, if it's grade level specific, you can select the grade level that you are teaching. For subject, notice not all subjects are listed here, and for the purpose of this demonstration, I will select English Language Arts. Select the Create button. Now we are taken to the standards window. I recommend using the Common Core State Standards. These are the ones with the largest amount of item banks that you can choose from and assign to your test, but you're welcome to explore the other options. For subjects, select the subject. For grade level, once again, the grade level that you are teaching. If you have previously used standards, they're going to appear on red. That does not mean that you are currently using them on this assessment. And what we're going to be doing is looking at the standards that we have. So I'm going to select English Language Arts. So here we are. I'm going to select some of them from the language section. And if you click and expand, you're going to see them expanding. So I'm going to choose this one. This one. You may notice a little chain appear right next to the standard as soon as I click on it. That means I am currently selecting that standard and it's being linked to my test. You can also see the standards that you're using here. So far we've assigned 6 standards, and I can also see the standard code here on the bottom. The best way to navigate the site is to simply use the Continue button. If you want to use the menu options on the top, you can also do this by clicking and selecting and going into that window. But I find the easiest way to continue with the creation of the assessment is to use the Continue button. Now here we are in the search filters. This is where you can select item banks, item types. So I'm going to select the item bank selection. You can select or deselect these. I usually select all of them just to get the most items that I can look at. I'm going to select Update Filter. Notice how it's already uploading. This is the item type. This is where you can select, I want multiple choice, I want non-traditional selected response, such as true, false, yes, no. If you want to select a drop down, if you want drag and drop, these are all filters that you can select, and then your questions will populate based on the filters that you select. For the purpose of demonstration and time, I'm going to leave it at multiple choice, non-traditional selected response, and update my filter. Now here we have a reading passage. Notice the standard is in black color. That's because this is one of the standards that we have selected on the top. Now the best way to actually hit all the standards based on the item bank is to click on the standard itself, deselect, and only leave one standard. So that way when you update your filter, you know that the questions that are being populated are related and linked to that standard. So I'm going to select just simply by selecting the Add button. I'm going to go back to standards. I'm going to select another one and say update filter. If you've already used the standard, notice how you use item in use. So I'm going to select another standard. I'm going to scroll up and do that for each one of my standards. Now you don't have to go back in there and deselect the standards, but I find that the easiest way to make sure you hit all the standards on the questions. I'm going to select this one by adding it, going back, click on the standards, deselect the standard and select the next one and update the filter. You would obviously need to look at each individual question. If it's the one that you're looking for, there's more pages. If you scroll to the top or the bottom, you should see the pages. But you are the expert in your subject area, and you will be able to find what we're looking for based on the test that you are creating. So I'm simply selecting just maybe another one. So I'm going to go back to the standard and finally hitting that standard. So I'm going to select and add. Now you may notice here on the right side of your screen you have 7 items selected. Those are your questions. You are using 6 standards. You have 2 passages, 2 NTSR, that's non-traditional selected response, and MC is multiple choice. If you are not sure of what that means, look at the question icon, and if you leave your mouse or hover your mouse over it, you're going to see what it stands for. I'm going to hit continue. These are the questions that I have selected. You can shuffle your questions by clicking on the small little shuffle icon. You can also shuffle the answers by clicking on the small little shuffle answer option here, or you can reset it back to the way it was. I'm going to hit continue. Now you can also move and drag your questions. Maybe you don't want all the multiple choice back to back. So you can simply click, drag and drop and release, and that's where they will be placed. I'm going to continue. This is what the test will look like in booklet form. You can generate and print it out if you like as a PDF. I'm going to hit continue. And this is where you publish. Once you publish, you cannot go back and make any more changes. So I recommend always make sure that you go back and review the items and then make changes before you publish the test. I'm going to hit the publish button. And now I'm going to go and return to Illuminate. This is where you're going to find the test under list tests. There it is. You can also go to assessment and list assessments and then search for your assessment in that manner. Welcome back for part 2 of Illuminate online assessment. Once you've created your assessment and you've published it, I'm going to go into the assessments and list the assessments to find the one that I created previously. If you cannot find your assessment, it might be a good idea to clear all the filters. If you want to find it, select obviously me, the author, and then search. And now you're going to find the assessment that we created last time around. I'm going to select the assessment. And you can do one of 2 things. You can select administer online, or you can go into the administration and online testing. Either one will work. Once you are in this page, we need to add the roster of students who will be taking the online assessment. So I am going to add a roster, and it will take you to the online testing assessment roster window. This is the testing window start date. This is the testing window end date. If this is only for one class period, you can select date and then the date once again. And then if the test starts, let's say for example at 10 a.m. and it ends at 11 a.m., there's only a window of 1 hour where the students can actually complete the test. If you want to give this a window of a longer period of time, it's pretty much up to you. The academic year 2015-2016, the grade level, if it pertains to you, I usually just leave all grade levels. The side where you are at, this is the teacher name, the department, leave all departments. I've noticed that when you select a specific department, it prevents you from selecting the section, so just leave it as default. Now this is the section that you're going to assign the test to. For example, I'm going to select period 2 and it will automatically populate all the names of the students on there. All you have to do is select all students, or only select the student that you want to assign the test to. If this is an entire class assessment, simply leave all students selected. There are more options available under the show window. Time of day window, is it a day or a daily window? Duration of the test, if you're only giving your students, let's say 30 minutes to complete the test or 60 minutes to complete the test, I'm going to leave it at 30 minutes to complete the test. You can pause the test about 3 times, or you can change the pause time. Let's say that they want to use the bathroom and you need to pause the test, so that way you can allow the test to be paused. There are areas in your test, if you selected those type of questions, where the students might need to type something in. You can have them type the entry or write the entry on a separate document. If it's online testing, I recommend just leave the online entry. You can assign a specific password for the students to actually open up the test, or as soon as they log into the student portal to take the test, they should be able to see it and take it. This is pretty much up to you. Randomizing the choice answers of your test. If you don't want always the answer to be letter A, if you want it to be different for, let's say, random students, you can select the randomized choice order. These are more tools that you can enable. As you can see, some of them are still not accessible, but they're coming soon. So you can go through these and see what you would like to enable for your test. And let's say that you want to turn off, schedule turn off by the 25th. I usually would just turn it off the same day after the test ends. For example, I'll just leave it at 12 or 1 p.m. for the test window to turn off. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button. It's saving, and once it's complete, it's ready to go. A couple of things. If you notice, here are the number of the students. If you see an X, red X next to the portal, is because some of the students might not have access to the portal, and this is going to be fixed. But for the most part, if students log in to take the assessment, they should be able to log into the portal, click on the assessment, take the assessment, and submit the assessment. Welcome back to Illuminate Online Assessment Part 3. And for the students to take the assessment that you have already assigned to them, you can have the students going to the student portal link that can be found in the district website under Parent Students Illuminate Portal. Teachers can look up the students' Illuminate username and password by logging into their Illuminate account. Once a student logs in to the Illuminate student portal, they will be able to see the tests that have been assigned to them. For example, this test is scheduled to have an opening window from 12 to 1. It is currently 12:23, and that is why the test is visible. If the student logged in earlier than the assigned date and time, the test would not be visible to the student until the opening window. The student would click the test, and then this window will open. They will have to click on the Begin Test button, and now they have their question, and then they would select the answer. So I'm going to select, for example, an answer. Then you would select the next button, read the question, select the correct answer, and then select the next button. Do the same thing for the various options. And for the sake of time and the demonstration, I'm gonna just select any one of these until it gets to the end. Once it gets to the end of the question, the student can review by going back to any one of the questions by clicking in the number. It's a hyperlink. They can modify their answer and then click the next. or they can simply go into the review finish again. Once they're ready and submit the test, they can select the finish button. They can also make notes as they are taking their test, and it'll save them up there. They can also pause the test at any time. The teacher determines how many times they can pause the test, but remember that the student must submit by clicking the green finish button. You have completed your test. To view your scores, click here. In order to return back to the Illuminate student portal, they would have to select the click here. The test will be graded automatically and the scores will be shown to the student. It might take a little while before the scores are populated. And that is the end of this tutorial. I'm going to log off the user account.